Greetings everyone, this is Aves Raza, your host for this webinar, and today we have Dr. Devina with us for the webinar. So before we start the webinar, I will be briefly telling you the process through which we will conduct our webinar. So this webinar will be divided into three parts. In the first part, we will be having a presentation by Dr. Devina, and after that we will have a Q&A session. Q&A session is further divided into two parts. In the first part, we will be asking ma'am some questions which were given to us in registration form, and after dealing with those, we will be having some live questions from you guys. So you will be able to ask ma'am questions through the live chat option given on the YouTube. So after that Q&A session, I will be telling you how to get your certificate. But please bear in mind that for getting the certificate, only registration is not enough. You will also have to fill a feedback form, whose link I will be giving in the end of the webinar. So make sure you will watch till the end and also learn a lot. So without further ado, I will welcome Ma'am Devina. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Yes, good evening, Abbas. Thank you so much for providing this golden opportunity to interact with so many people. I can see a lot of comments in the chat box. So it's a privilege. It's a great opportunity that you are arranging such platforms. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, ma'am. Ma'am, now you can start off with your introduction and then with the presentation. So now the stage is yours. Thank you very much. I will be in the background if you need any assistance.
Abbas, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Yes, I think there was some technical issue.
Okay, it's all right. You can take your time.
Yeah,
No problem.
yeah. Okay. Yes, I'm looking forward to present my work.
Ma'am, do
So
you
I'm,
want to add?
yeah, yeah.
If you want to add the presentation, that I can do for you. But before that, please give your
Yeah.
introduction to the public. Then we will be adding
Yes.
the
Oh,
presentation.
all right. So, hello everyone. I'm Dr. Devina Krishna. I teach as an assistant professor at the Department of English, Patna Women's College, India. I'm basically an academic and linguist. So, I work on languages. I have done a PhD in linguistics from Jawaharlal Nehru University. And I am basically, my area of specialization is, tonal linguistics, okay, tonology, which I say. So I have worked on languages, and today also it's an opportunity where I can present my work on languages. So I have chosen Dogri because it is my mother tongue, and as we can see that India is facing the issue of endangerment. A lot of languages are in a state of endangerment. So I wanted to do a work where I can, preserve the data for future researchers also, and it is a way to not only just explore the characteristics of a language, but also to preserve language. So I also work in the area of language documentation apart from phonetics and phonology. So today again I got this opportunity. I'm thankful to the present platform to give me an opportunity where I can present my work. So it is not only just a linguistic exploration, but it is also to do with language preservation. So, Avais, I think I'll start with my presentation now. So, the present work deals with, the topic, a linguistic investigation of lexical tones in Dogri. Now, there was this question, why not English? So, I'll tell you why I have chosen this topic. So, Dogri is a language which is spoken in, of course, India, in parts of Jammu and in parts of Himachal Pradesh and some parts of Punjab. And well, as I told you that a lot of languages in India are facing endangerment, and some of the languages are in a vulnerable state. So we as linguists we make effort that we preserve these languages, and we, apart from not only preserving the languages, but it is important to document the language, so that we have some data for the future researchers, for the future generations. So I chose this topic because tones is one area which is least explored, and it is a very important area. So I chose this topic, and not only Dogri, but there are other languages also in the Indian subcontinent where tones are found. Okay, and across the world, of course, more than 50% of languages are tonal in characteristics. Of course, India English, as far as English is concerned, it's not a tonal language. It is an intonational language. I'll be telling what is the difference between a tonal language and an intonational language. So I'll just proceed with the slides. So these are the elements of my presentation. I'll give a brief introduction to Dogri, along with the hypothesis of the present work, and then I'll talk about the research methods and analysis, because this is a linguistic exploration, and it is an empirical study. So there is some methodology involved in it, and there's some sort of data collection that has been involved. Then I'll also brief you about the introduction to tone languages, how it is different from intonational languages, what are the aspects of tones, the different categories of tones, and then how do we, say that a particular language is tonal in characteristic. So there are certain acoustic cues which make a language, tonal. So these can be duration of vowels and some other factors also. So I've emphasized a bit on duration of vowels. There are some illustrations also which I have mentioned in my work, and this will be followed by a relationship dealing with stress and tone. And then I'll conclude. All right. So the first thing is, just to know the language, just to orient people from, different corners of the world. I can see people from Philippines, Pakistan, and Sweden, so many, and it is very, heartening to see such responses and greetings. So I would like you to acquaint with language Dogri. And as we know that we have a major proto-language family, which is Indo-European language family, and within that there are so many sub-branches, and within that we have several sub-branches, and one such branch is the Indo-Aryan branch or the Indic branch. So Dogri belongs to the Western Indo-Aryan branch of Indo-European family. And as I have briefed earlier, that it is mainly spoken in Jammu region of Jammu and Kashmir, northern Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, and other parts of Kashmir. This is within the Indian subcontinent. And since it is the region, the Jammu region, it is surrounded by mountains. So it is known as the language of the mountainous region. And the people who speak this language are Dogras. It is the Dugar community that speak this language. And there hasn't been much work in the area of Dogri. Uh, Currently, the situation is such that there are young researchers from so many prestigious universities that are actually working in the area of this language. But yes, if we try to go back to the early linguistic literature, we'll find scanty work. And this place, this language, of course, is one of the vulnerable languages, because as I told you, the endangerment issue is still, it is something which is of crucial importance India is facing, and many corners of the world face. Because we know that, as a linguist, it is my duty to preserve languages. And the first and the foremost thing is that we must speak our mother tongues. So it is a mother tongue of so many million of speakers in India, and it holds this place where it is spoken, has an important place on the linguistic map of northern India, and it has been included in the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution. So it, of course, it has a lot of rich literature also. There's a lot of work in the area of folklore also. And interesting aspects are there, but I wish I could tell that. But then, due to paucity of time, I'm cutting it short. So I'll just straight away move to the topic. Now, as far as this present work is concerned, since I'm working on, tones in, I must say, lexical tones in Dogri language. So there's a hypothesis that I have constructed before I actually did my research. And the main or the primary hypothesis of the present work is tone may be found in the Western Indo-Aryan languages other than Punjabi. Okay. So, generally, it is said that Punjabi is the only language that has lexical tones. But then I could found that other than Punjabi, there are other languages also that has lexical tones. And I did a work, I did a descriptive work where I could find instances of tones existing in these Western Indo-Aryan languages, and Dogri is one of them. Now, for the present work, I actually there was this qualitative methodology which I actually designed. So I prepared a list of sentences. These were declarative in nature, and they were prepared according to two contexts, prominent and given, to evaluate the effectiveness of pitch in the language. So certain list of sentences I prepared in Dogri just to check whether in both the contexts, I'm getting the similar responses. And as far as the informants were concerned, I consulted native speakers of Dogri. The age groups were same and gender were same, just to maintain some homogeneity in the, in the data. And they were consulted. And for this, in order to get this happen, I conducted field trips to regions of Basoli, which is one of the regions near Jammu, and that has a lot of Dogri speakers. And I even visited some areas of Jammu also. So, the font is quite tiny over here. Anyways, I'll just tell you. So let me talk about tone language. When we say that English is an intonational language, and English is not a tone language. So in terms of as far as the linguistic definition of tone language is concerned, so it is said that a language with tone is a language in which an indication of pitch enters into the lexical realization of at least some morphemes. Now, this is a very famous definition by Moira Ip in 2002. And here the author talks about tone language. The author has produced a book on tone languages, which is very interesting, and it talks about the different varieties of tones and the different languages also across the world. Tone, for example, I'll tell you in a very simplistic term. For example, Mandarin Chinese is tonal in characteristic, or Thai is a tonal language. Punjabi in the Indian context is tonal in nature. Now, what makes a language tonal? So, what happens? A language is said to be tone. For example, if it has three words which are similar as far as the form of the word is concerned, the form of the word is similar, but as you change the tone of the word, okay, which the vowel is bearing, the meaning changes. So you change the tone, you change the pitch, and the meaning changes. However, the form remains the same. So this is what happens in case of tone languages. And it is very interesting to note that as a researcher, when I thought of working in this area, I found this area least unexplored, least explored, and I found that there's a lot of work that can be done in this area. And not only Dogri language, but I also studied a few more languages where I couldn't get the expected results, but yes, in this language I could get some positive results, and which really made my hypothesis, which proved my hypothesis. Now, how do we determine these tones? So, or how do we actually, what makes a language tonal in characteristic. So there are certain acoustic cues, as I told you. So these are pitch, intensity, duration. So I'll just tell you briefly that when I conducted my study, my research on tones, on lexical tones. Why we say lexical tones? Because it is to do with words. Lexical is at the level of words. So I'm actually, I'm trying to, find certain words in Dogri, which are similar in form, but what happens is as I change the tone, the meaning of the word changes. And interestingly, there has been, as far as the earlier linguistic literature is concerned in this area, we have a very famous work by a very eminent linguist, Dr. Ved Kumari Ghai. She has worked in the area of Dogri, you can say tones. But the point is that as far as the earlier writers were concerned, that time they didn't have the privilege of lot of you can say scientific investigations couldn't take place in that manner the way those are carried in today's time. And we are privileged that we have a software called Prat. So Prat is a speech software where we can analyze our speeches, where we can analyze whether a language has tones or not. So it is very interesting, it is very user friendly. So I was privileged that I could lay my hands on Prat, and I could analyze tones in Dogri by studying these acoustic cues. So we have pitch, intensity, and duration. What happens is we find the pitch or the fundamental frequency, the rate at which our vocal folds vibrate. We've tried to find pitch of the particular vowel. We also try to find the intensity. We also try to find the duration. And these are acoustic cues that make it gives us the assurance whether a particular language is tonal in characteristic or it has a particular intonation. Now, as far as English is concerned, it is not a tonal language. It is intonational in characteristic. What happens is, like, we make a lot of variations when we speak. We cannot speak in a steady pitch. If we speak in a steady pitch, we'll be called machines or robots, right? So we cannot speak in a steady pitch. So that is why we make use of make use of intonation in English. However, the term, as far as the tones are concerned, it is completely different from intonation. So, in what makes a language tonal, it is what happens that the pitch changes, okay, of a particular form. We change the pitch of a form, but however, the form remains the same. But as we change the pitch, the meaning of the form also changes. And later on, I'll show you some examples also from the language. So these are some aspects of tones, as I think I have already discussed this before. So these are, of course, tones are an essential part of words. For example, tones in Mandarin are used to clarify the meaning of words. Uh, Tones are involved with grammatical structure. For example, in the Sumi language, shifts in tone on verb roots undergo nominalization. So there are other, grammatical functions also which tone performs. So, for example, in Sumi language, what happens? There's a shift in tone on verb roots, and as the tone shifts, you know, the verb undergo nominalization. So then tones may interact with stress. So stress is the relative prominence of a syllable. So what happens, for example, I've given an example from Dogri. So stressed tone bears the tone as in koda, horse in Dogri. Now the word koda, that is referred to as horse in Dogri, and it bears, well, I also found in my work, it bears a falling rising tone. I'll tell you what a falling rising tone is. So the syllable that bears, that actually, which is stressed, that bears the tone in Dogri. And stress syllable is the one which is more prominent as compared to the other syllables which are not as prominent. Then there's something called tonogenesis. What happens is, like, non-tonal languages may come to have tone, which is a phenomena known as tonogenesis, where a language acquires tone. So this is just an aspect related to tones, how tones arise. So the whole phenomena is known as tonogenesis, or birth of tones, or genesis of tones. Then languages may undergo tonal loss, and Vedic Sanskrit had a pitch accent, but it was lost by classical period. So we also have, instances of tonal loss. We also have genesis of tones, which is called the birth of tones. Types of tones. Now, as far as the categories of tones are concerned, there are two main categories, and Moira Yip has already talked about it. So we have two categories called register tone system, where the pitches are relatively steady. Okay, and we have another category which is called a contour tone system. Tones shift in pitch. So what happens? These are gliding tones. The tones glide from one tone to the other. Okay, and Dogri is a combination. What my research stated, so it has a contour tone also. I could found a contour tone system, and there were instances of some steadiness also. I could see in some words the steady pitches were also there. So it is a combination. And a contour tone system is something which is also found in Punjabi language also. So what happens, the tone shifts or glides from one tone to the other. So this is the second category of the category of tones. Now, for conducting this work, I had already prepared the. I've already told you this earlier, how I prepared sentences according to two contexts, prominence and given, to check the effectiveness of the pitch. This was just to make sure that in the given two contexts, if I'm getting the same responses, and I got the same responses, and I'll be showing those through the illustrations also. So the I could find the acoustic investigation of fundamental frequency, therefore, and the duration of the tone bearing vowels. These were the two cues on which my in phonetic investigation is based on: fundamental frequency and duration of the tone bearing vowel. Let's see these figures. So as I can say, let me take a few examples over here. So what happens is like, now, these are some, I don't know, maybe some of you can read these transcriptions. So I'll just tell you. So we have certain words of Dogri, as you can see in these square brackets. So these are certain words of Dogri, and these are the words of Dogri. And then next is the vowel. I have given the vowel along with the tone markings. Okay, the tone markings are there, and then I have also provided, like, for every word, if I consulted four speakers, I've also given the duration of the speakers, and then along with the average duration. So I'll just tell you briefly over here. So there is, for example, this is the word. Let me take this word. The word is cha. Okay, so the word is, the way it has, falling rising tone, you can say, marking. So this is this is a syllable, and cha, the way, if I have to say in Dogri with a falling rising pitch, it will be cha, cha. Now this cha, okay, this is a kind of, a game that children play. So here I could see the duration which I got. For example, so we have 42 seconds, 41 seconds, 49, 42. Okay, so the average was 0.42 seconds. Okay, so this was the longest in duration. So I could find, by working in the Pratt software, I could find that 42 seconds was the longest in duration. So cha, which was actually having the falling rising tone, was longest in duration. And then I had a mid tone, the second cha. Okay, that means tea. In Hindi we say chai, cha. So there was a little a mid kind of uh, I can say response. So it was a mid tone which I could perceive, and then we have the certain we have 0.36, 31, 3730. So as you can see, a lot of variations in these numerals also, and that is perfectly normal, because what happens is, like, the speakers are not always in they are very, sometimes they are conscious also, and sometimes they are nervous, they are agitated. So it just depends. But then yes, the average which I got, the average duration was 0.33 second. And this was mid, which was, little longer in duration than the final tone, which was low tone. This is the third one, cha, which was actually a syllable bearing a low tone, cha, which means desire or wish. So here I had the average 0.16. So you can see this was just an example to tell you, here we can see when I say that in a tone language, the forms are same. You can see the forms are all same, cha, cha, cha. It's the same form. But what happens, the only difference is in terms of the pitch, the movement of the pitch. So in first case, it is falling, rising. In the second case, there's a mid tone, and in the final, there's a low tone. And we have the duration also along with the duration of the four speakers. I have also given the average duration over here. So the as far as duration is concerned, vowels, remember that it is the vowel which always bears the tone. The consonant won't bear the tone. It is a vowel that bears the tone. And in this case, the the falling rising tone is the longest in duration as compared to the other two tones. So this was a very robust cue that gave me the assurance in the very beginning that there are chances of Dogri being categorized as a tonal language. And then I found some more words in the language, and that gave me the assurance that there are existing tones in the language. So this was, then what happened, so that was, as I told you, that I had, actually designed two contexts, uh, uh, so there were certain, there was a framework, and in both the frameworks, even in, the previous framework and the later framework also, I could find the same duration. Okay, as I can show you in this one also, it's the same duration. So that gave me assurance that even if I have, two contexts, okay, where I'm just changing the sentences, and I'm getting the similar results. So and the results were quite reliable. So it was I had conducted this, whole exercise of, interviewing the informants. I had given them the I've asked them to, read the sentences, and then they read the sentences, and then I extracted the word, and those words were transferred in the software, and then I could, no, I could analyze the words. All right. So these are the results, as you can see. So the duration of the syllable nucleus was taken into account for all four speakers. And we can notice this is the just the repetition of what I said, that the falling rising tone was longer as compared to the other two. The low tone that remained the shortest in duration, and the mid tone was in an intermediate position. Most of the words were articulated in a declarative manner, and here I have focused especially on, the word cha, because that was the results were very positive over there. And the vowel bearing the falling rising tone was the longest in duration, and these trends were visible in sentences of both contexts. So these are the illustrations. um, okay, and I hope you are able to see. Now this is just to tell you how, the spectrographs appear, or how, how does a Pratt illustration look like. So this is how, a Pratt illustration looks like. And this is the, this is the spectrograph. Here I could, this is just a screenshot just to tell you. So this is, speakers, the first speakers, utterance, or let me say articulation of the word cha, which means peep, as I told you. And this has a falling rising contour, as you can see the blue line. So this is, actually depicting the pitch of a person. So this is speakers first, the first speaker whom I consulted. This is his, or her perception of or her articulation of the word cha. So this is falling rising, and then I have made tears also. So of course this was a very it required a lot of effort. We have to actually, when we work in prat, we actually say, we record the sound, we transfer it to prat, and then we annotate it, we make these text grids also, and then we study. So then we finally, we try to get the drawings and we transfer them on the in the prints of our work. So this was a falling rising contour. And then in the next word, cha, which refers to t, as you can see. So this was a pitch in an intermediate position. So this was referred to as cha, meaning T. So, which I perceive that this is a mid tone in Dogri. So, the blue line again here depicts the pitch pattern. Then comes the cha, the third cha, which means desire. So here the pitch is on a very, you can see the frequency is somewhere around 75 hertz or around that only. So it is said on a very low note. That is why this was referred to as you know uh, low tone. So we can see that Dogri has uh, you can say a combination of contour as well as some steady pitches are also playing part over there. Again, in the other context also, we have the same pattern, the same trend is visible. We can see the contour in speakers, in the first speaker's articulation. Then similarly in the second illustration also, the mid tone, and in the third also the low tone. So that was very encouraging to receive such data, because sometimes what happens, you expect something and you don't get that data. So somewhere I was hoping that I'll be able to find out tones, because I had got few hints from the early linguistic literature, in Dogri language, that there exists tones in this language. So then these were the FO measurements also. So we had for example, these were the other set of words, tonal words. We have P, P, and P. So we have three kinds of these you can say words, like three forms are the same, P, 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 but as you change the the you can say the tone of the word, the meaning changes. So we have the first P, which has a falling rising tone, and here you have the average FO values. So this is even quite high. Okay, and in case of the mid also, we have the middle. This is a mid tone, which has which I said that it is in an intermediate position. So it has again uh, it has again got some uh, some figure. You can say the data is little, it's showing that the fundamental frequency is showing all these you can see the values are little lesser as far as the first one is concerned. And here also, as in the third P, which is depicting a low tone, it has gone down to 122.10 hertz. Okay, so these were the hints. This was in the given context of the framework I had designed. So we could see that even fundamental frequency of the vowels also also appear as strong or robust cue for giving hints that a particular language is tonal in characteristic or not. So we can see that the average fundamental frequency value is highest in case of the falling rising tone, lowest in case of low tone, and intermediate in case of mid tone. And such trends are visible in both the contexts. There is some, I think there's some uh, problem with the presentation over here. I can see some gaps over here anyways. But just to tell you that the fundamental frequency value, okay, in case of the contour is the highest. So even as you saw that even the duration is the highest in case of falling rising tone, which is a contour, as compared to the other tones, and even the fundamental frequency is also highest. So we have again, the examples that I have already mentioned. So we have falling rising in words such as p, which means again. We have coda, which means horse. Then we have mid tone, such as we have words like p, which is grind, and coda, which means leper. Then we have low tone, as in words such as P, which means drink, coda, which means whip. So, so we have the same forms, but we have variations in tones. So this was the observation which I could find, that other than Punjabi, we have also Dogri language making a tripartite tonal distinctions, and it is clearly showing from the examples or from the data I have collected that it is clearly showing a falling, rising trend, a mid and a low trend. And of course, we always say that, Dogri also belongs to the Western Punjabi group of languages. So there is, some influence of the other language as such. So we can see a lot of similarity also in some of these words, which Dogri, shows resemblance with Punjabi. Now, this is also, I'll just repeat the point that I was talking about previously about stress tone relationship, how stress, which refers to the relative prominence of a syllable, is also an important part of Dogri phonological system, and it determines the location of word tone. So it is actually the stressed syllable that bears the tone in Dogri, and we have the example coda, which means horse. Here, the stress falls on the syllable that carries the tone. So the stress syllable bears the tone. So we can say that stress falls on the syllable that is actually that is carrying the tone within itself. So here, with that, I come to the end of the presentation. So there are a lot of points here. I have just mentioned everything in the conclusion part. So I just want to tell you that this is just a very basic effort of mine, and I wish that and I could do some more extensive work, as far as the exploration of tones is an area. And I hope that this work serves as a small resource for the future researchers, since as I told you that this area is, I should not say that this area has been neglected. People are doing a lot of researchers. There have been researchers, people from abroad are coming to India, and they are traveling to parts of Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, and they're working in the areas of tones. I can see even in, for example, there's this language called Kangri. So there's work going on in the area of Kangri, uh, uh, you know, uh, uh, just to find whether there are tones existing or not, and other than also others, some other phonological traits also. And then of course, this language is my mother tongue, and I just wanted to contribute to the society, to my community, and also as language documentation being one of my areas, one of my areas of interest. I thought that the language, before it reaches some extreme state of vulnerability, I should do something to document it. And we know that people are almost switching to other languages, especially English. So but yes, it is true that we must hold on to our mother tongues. We must preserve our mother tongues. We must speak our native languages. Otherwise languages won't exist. So this is just a small effort, and I wish that we conduct more work in this area, and we all make effort to not only revive our mother tongues, but also to sustain our mother tongues, and keep them in a living state. So with that, I come to the end of my presentation. These are the references for my work. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful and insightful presentation. And truly said that we need to work on our languages in order to preserve them, and like instead of just switching to some popular or some big language, just like English, we should also try to do something for our language as well. So, with that being said, now I will be asking audience to comment your questions. I was seeing a lot of questions in the start of the webinar, but I hope they got answered as you continued your presentation. But if there are any left, then you all are welcome to write your questions in the live chat, and then Mem will try to answer them. And regarding the registration form questions, I just went through them, and they were not like of the like all they were already answered during the presentation which you gave, so no need to go through them again. But if there are any questions left right now, we will be taking them.
Yes, somebody had asked why not English, why on Dogri, so and what is the difference between tone and intonation. So I think I've already answered that. But just to recap, so tone is different from intonation, and English is an intonational language. It is not a tonal language. So I've already intonation is something, it refers to the simple variation in pitch. What happens, but the form, there's no change as such. The kind of thing we see in a tonal language, the form is the same, and we just change the pitch and the meaning changes. This doesn't happen in case of intonation. So there is no change in the meaning of the word. We apply, we put intonational patterns. It can be on a phrase, okay, or on an utterance. So we have different intonational patterns on also in English. And yes, native speakers are very efficient in producing these intonational patterns. So as far as English, I couldn't work on English because it's not a tonal language. So I chose my own mother tongue. Okay, it says are Dogri and Punjabi like, are they similar? So as I told you that they both belong to the Western Indo-Aryan, language family. So yes, there's a lot of similarity. There's a lot of lexical similarity also. There's some words which are also found in Punjabi and Dogri. You can see language, lexical items similar in both the, languages. So yes, we can say similarity. So there is another thing. Mm,
Yes.
Melaisky says English in India is too different here in the Philippines. Man, why I asked this, because when I was in the Middle East, I met people in India and there, and yeah, that's true. That is very much true. See, it is all about variation. Even when we say that, in some way or the other, there is mutual intelligibility between Punjabi and Dogri, because both belong to the same, language families. We can say that, but within that also we'll find variation. There might be one word in Dogri which is different, in Punjabi. So variation is very, it's something which is very natural in languages, and we must appreciate it, because it just adds to diversity. And as far as you are saying that English is concerned in India, yes, it is different, because we have different varieties of English. In English in India, we speak Indian English, for example. That is one variety. We have general Indian English also. We have standard Indian English also. We have other Indian English varieties also. And naturally, when you are here in Philippines, you'll find there are also some variation in the languages. And when you said that when I was in the Middle East, I met people in India, and there are all right. So variation is something which is very normal. So you will find, as you travel few kilometers, you'll see changes, or variations within the language. But yes, since for example Dogri and uh, Punjabi belong to the same language family, because they're all descended from Sanskrit, or so the classical language. So we can see a lot of similarities also. All right. What's the difference between tone and stress languages? All right. We have another. I'll just answer this first. So tone, as I told you, tone is as I told you that. it actually enters the lexical realization of a morpheme. This is a very linguistic way of explaining tones, okay, in linguistics. But just to tell you in a very simple manner, so what happens is, like, a language is tonal when there is a form which has similar forms, but you just change the pitch, okay, and the meaning changes, okay. As I told you in Dogri, okay, how we had the same form. For example, cha, we had three different kinds of cha, cha, but every cha was uttered with a different pitch, and that changed the meaning. So as you change the pitch, the meaning of the word changes. This is what happens in case of tone languages, okay. However, in case of stress is, it is simply the prominence, the kind of emphasis you attach on a particular syllable, the kind of emphasis you put, or the amount of breath force, okay, you provide on a particular syllable of a word, okay. That can happen in any language. All right. There's a question: is it the stress syllable which carries tone, or a tonal unit carries stress which comes earlier? So, as I told you, that it is the stress syllable which carries the tone. You say you have also asked, or a tonal unit carries stress. So, basically, in my work, as I've said, that it is a stress syllable that carries the tone. And yes, stress and tone are related to each other. So, stress actually, carries tone, okay. Not It is not the tonal unit that carries the stress. The stress comes first, and then it is, it carries the tone, or it is where the tone is located, okay, within the stress syllable. Can we apply three tone levels to a word in Dogri and get three different word classes? Okay. Three tone levels to a word in Dogri and get three different word classes. Okay. Um, see, a language is tonal in characteristic. You know, of course, you'll find different tone levels, but then three different word classes. Yeah, there is a possibility. It can happen that one is, you're talking about, I think, if you're talking about different parts of different, parts of speech or something like that. So maybe you can form an adjective, or, you can form some kind of compound, for example, compound word, okay. So you may, it can even happen in case of compound words. For example, you can have different types of word compounds, and you can have, tones bearing that. But the point is that I did, it was a very detailed work of mine, and I found that I could find three tones in case of words, and those words were, one of the word, for example, was a verb, and the other two word, two word nouns, okay. And in nouns, and in other cases, I could also find some adjective also. So that is okay. You can have, three tone levels, and you can get different word classes, of course.
All right, ma'am. Now we will be taking few more questions, like one or two
Okay.
maybe, and then we will conclude the session. All right. So let me just check.
Okay, there is one question. Uh, you know, uh, how can more tonal languages be found? How can All right, Isha asks, how can more tonal languages be found? How can more researchers be conducted to undertake this? Yeah, that's very interesting. And that gives a lot of hope also. It's a very positive question. So, how can more tonal languages be found? Well, if you're interested in pursuing a career in linguistics, or you want to study, then you can, get admissions in prestigious universities which offers courses in these areas. Okay, and then that gives you a chance, to work in these areas, okay, which are, least explored. So you can find out from Google, and you can, get yourself registered within such institutions, where, you can work, you can get a chance to, do research. So you can work in some research institute or some good organization, And there you'll get, under good supervision, you'll get to know about, what are the different tonal languages, okay, existing in the world. And where are, chances, okay, where you have chances to, you can just, go for further research. So that happens, with a good guidance, and of course in a good institute, okay, which offers, these areas of research.
All right, very well. So now we will be taking this last question for today's webinar, that is from Tahir Ghafoor Malik. Can we say that in addition to the three acoustic cues, FO, intensity, and duration, final velocity should also be measured?
Okay, so yes, it's a question which is actually mentioning the three acoustic cues. So well, when I conducted my study, so I generally, based my work on, studying or analyzing these three acoustic cues, which were fundamental, frequency, intensity, and duration. So I didn't measure final velocity. Okay, so because, these three acoustic cues, FO, intensity, duration, these are very, strong, you can say, parameters, or, strong cues that can help you in knowing whether a language is tonal in characteristic or not. So these are strong enough cues to, find out.
All right. So I hope everybody's questions has been answered. And if we had left some questions, then we are sorry about it, because it's time constraint, and ma'am has also other things to attend to, I guess. So this will be the end of the webinar, and thank you again, Dr. Devina, for joining this session and giving your precious time and your
Thank you so
knowledge
much.
and
Thank
sharing it
you.
with us.
Thank you so much. It was a great opportunity, and it is so, overwhelming to see so many questions and comments. And it's a wonderful opportunity where I could also present my work, because, I also look for opportunity where I can, let others know what I am working on. Because really, this, whole issue of preserving languages is crucial, and we all must, the only thing, the end note I want to give here is that, we must speak our mother tongues. We must hold on to our mother tongues. English is fine, but then, other than English or learning any foreign language, we must, hold on to our mother tongues also.
Yes,
Thank you once
definitely.
again.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Hope to see you in another session if you want to share anything else with us. And
Sure, sure.
also, I will be getting back to you soon after this webinar. All
Yes.
right. Thank
And
you very
maybe
much.
I look forward that in future I might present something on language endangerment. Okay. Because this is one crucial issue, and how we can preserve our languages, what effort we as native speakers can do. I think each of us can, do efforts, small effort in preserving our languages.
Yes, definitely. We will be sure having that webinar as well. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
So, everyone, the webinar has now ended, and it was very uh, informative, and I was very happy to see you all participating and commenting. So thank you for your time. Now I will be sharing the process of getting your certificate. So, all right. So now for getting the certificate, as I have already shown on the screen, that you have to fill a feedback form, and also I will be sending you a link. But before sending you the link in live chat, I have seen that some people face issues finding the live chat. So for live chat, you must be logged into YouTube, like logged into your Google account, and you have opened your YouTube, www.youtube.com in the Google Chrome if you are using your laptop, and then from there you find this video. All right, and when you are logged into your Gmail account and you open the YouTube, you will be able to see the live chat option on this YouTube video. Otherwise, you won't be. All right, and if you are using your mobile, then make sure you have opened the YouTube application itself, because sometimes it happens when you click on the link, then another window opens and like it is not the YouTube application but some other like mini browser of your mobile, so it doesn't show you the live chat. So make sure are watching this video from the YouTube app directly. All right. So now, without further ado, I will be sharing the link with you all for the form. And thank you again, everyone, for joining. And here you go. Okay, so I have sent the link in the live chat. All right. So I hope there is new background or design for the certificate. We haven't changed the design of the certificate yet, but for the next webinar, which is coming up, we surely will have a different design of the certificate. And also we will be having a few more webinars. One is scheduled for this month and one is already scheduled for September, and we are looking forward for more resource persons to come and present the webinar. So as we get more resource persons and topics, we will surely schedule more webinars uh, for you. And for getting the info about the webinars, you should go to our Facebook page and like that page and follow it, so that you will receive the information about the new webinars and related to certificates or anything. And also we have a WhatsApp group, so you can also find the link of the WhatsApp group through our Facebook page. So yes, go check it out. Its name is also Linguistics and Pedagogy Webinars. The logo is the same on the Facebook page as here. So now I am commenting the link, and make sure you fill that form as soon as possible. And as I earlier mentioned in the video, that only filling the registration form is not enough. You have also you have to also fill the feedback form, whose link I am giving in the live chat. All right. So we have got 20 responses so far, and I can see that here are 40 viewers still on the YouTube. So if you have filled the feedback form, thank you very much, and see you in the next webinar. And if you have not, or if you are facing any issue, or if you can still not find the live chat, then make sure you email us at linguistics and pedagogy webinars at gmail.com. All right. So earlier we used to face this issue that a lot of people who watched on the YouTube could not find the live chat, and therefore could not fill the feedback form and hence didn't receive their certificates. So that's why what I have done is that I am giving this Gmail ID here, Linguistics and Pedagogy Webinars. If you cannot find the live chat, or if the link is not working or anything, you can just go directly to Gmail and email us with a subject that a certificate or feedback form link. Okay, just write that in the subject and then send us a message like, hi, I am this and that, and I want the form link because I could not find it. So then we will just email the feedback form link to you on your Gmail. And if you watch this video, or if you are watching this video and could not watch it due to some reason, due to some technical issues, and now you are watching it after an hour or two or 3 or 4 hours, or maybe a day later, like, we will keep the link open for 24 hours. So if within 24 hours you email us that I could not find the feedback form link, please send us that. I will be sending you the link. And after 24 hours, like after 4 p.m. tomorrow, Pakistan Standard Time, I will not be sending out the feedback form link, and the feedback form will be closed. And also, when will you be receiving the certificate? I will be updating on our Facebook page, and also it usually takes maximum 3 to 4 days to give you all your certificates. So do wait for it. And still, if you do not receive the certificate, then we will check if we have your name in our form responses, and if we do, we will send you it again. But if we do not have it, we will not be sending you the certificate. Okay. And one thing more, that is, when you fill your feedback form and you click on submit, then you will also be getting a copy of those responses which you gave on the feedback form on your Gmail account. So you will be receiving an email that you filled this form and this is the data which you filled. So if So keep like a screenshot of it. So in case if you don't receive your certificate, you can email me that screenshot that see I have filled the form and I got this email that I have filled the form, but I haven't received the certificate. So I will be sending you the certificate again. All right. So if you have any questions, you can ask me related. If you are having any problem related to the feedback form, then please you can. And thank you very much for joining. And Saud Khan, thank you for joining. Lizelle, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. All right. So I just answered this question. When will we get the certificate? You will be receiving your certificates within 3 to 4 days, and I will also post on the Facebook page, Linguistics and Pedagogy Webinars. It's a Facebook page, and I will post when I have sent all the certificates, so you will know that you have got it. And if in some cases the certificate is received to you in the spam folder, all right. So make sure when I post on the Facebook that I have sent all the certificates, and then you go check your inbox first of all, and then the spam folder. You do not find the certificate in the inbox. See, Manuel, if I have to fill the form, I get a if you fill the feedback form, all right, there are two forms, a registration form. Uh, you won't be get a certificate from that. There is another link which I'm giving in the comment, not in the comments, in the live chat. So if you go and click on it, there will be a form. If you fill that form, you will get a certificate within 3 days. Not immediately. It will take some time. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining and giving your time to it. I really appreciate it. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you, Mansoor Ali. All right. So I hope there is no problem in filling this form. And if you have got any problem, then you can also send us an email that I'm facing a issue with feedback form. Please send me the link on my email, so I will reply you with a link. All right. Thank you so much. Still 34 people are watching this video. So if you have filled your feedback form, you can leave this video. It would be all right. Okay, we have got 82 responses on the feedback form. Thank you so much for joining. All right, so after 2 minutes, I will be ending this live chat. All right, and also this webinar. And I have commented the link. So thank you. Good night to you as well. All right. So once again, thank you all for joining and being a part of this webinar and interacting actively during the webinar and giving out the questions and also keeping this webinar live and like what I can say live and active. So because of you guys, these webinars are possible, and we will keep doing them if you keep coming and keep engaging. And also, if you want to help us in any way, then you can tell your friends about this organization, Linguistics and Pedagogy Webinars, and then you can invite them also to join a webinar so they can also benefit from it. And if you have some professors, for example, who you think they should give a webinar also, so you can also tell them about this platform and they can email us at linguistics and pedagogy webinars at gmail.com, and we will surely arrange a webinar for them as well. And thank you everyone for joining, and I hope to see you in the next webinar. Thank you very much.